Hey visionaries! Today we are going to talk about an important laboratory that you may have forgotten about. The laboratory we're going to talk about is your body and the experiments, specifically health experiments, performed in that laboratory. It doesn't matter where your starting point is. You may feel a little out of shape or a lot out of shape, but the plan is to become a little less out of shape by taking small little steps and eventually building on those. Like any experiment, experiments on oneself range from simple to complex. But regardless of the type of experiment you perform, we should all agree that your body and its health is the most important thing you can focus on. So in a university laboratory, you have test tubes, Bunsen burners, fume hoods, etc. With your individual body, and I stress the word individual because we all come in different shapes and sizes, we have many ideas of what we'd like to improve, and we certainly want to make measurable improvements. The experiments come in when we experiment with exercise or diet and then assess the outcome within a given amount of time. If you're anything like me, you might need to work around some persistent injuries. But with whatever body you are starting with, every day you have the makings for a potential experiment in your laboratory. So what are experiments on oneself? Sometimes a person will come to a conclusion based on an unintentional experiment. For instance, some people start scratching after a hike and remember some bushes they navigated through and conclude, aha, poison ivy. Or that eating a certain type of food gets them sick. I guess we could call that small-scale reasoning. Of course, I'm not advocating thought-out experiments that have the potential to make you sick or itchy, but I do encourage thought-out experiments that make us better. Better mentally, physically, and motivationally. No matter where our starting point was. Ultimately, we all want to build ourselves to become better and the best version of ourselves we can be. Of course, this can't happen overnight. In some cases, we have years of training in the wrong direction. It's often better to start from scratch. It's not just bad habits we've developed. It's also millions of years of human evolution that we're up against. That evolution makes things worse because living circumstances of today hardly resemble the life of our ancestor, the caveman. The caveman constantly moved and needed many calories. So essentially, you're battling against the primitive part of the brain. This is an area of the brain where reflexes and instinct live. This part of the brain tells you to eat whenever possible. This was fine for the caveman when food was scarce and many miles were traveled by foot, but for humans of today, food is often plenty and exercise is rare. Fortunately for us, in many cases, if we can program the control centers of the brain, in essence, write a script with an incredible ending, we can accomplish better outcomes, and sometimes great outcomes. For me, what I've done in the past is to hijack my emotional centers of the brain and use them to attain what the new part of the brain, the higher order thinking part of the brain, deems to be valuable. In my life, I chose mathematics, fitness, and science. In a nutshell, long-term goals are hard to accomplish because they lack short-term rewards. But think about when you are highly emotional about something. You will do almost anything to get that something. You ever notice a really fit person is often talking about their diet or workout routine? they pretty much talk about it religiously. To those around that person, the talk is mostly boring and drones on. As an outsider, it seems ridiculous that the person discusses pull-ups, bench press, or the types of eggs they eat. But I'm here to tell you that being a fanatic is a necessity. Addictions, whether good or bad, make us repeat a behavior. That behavior shapes who we are. Addictions can make us great, or they can make us trivial within our own eyes. The trick is to logically figure out who you want to be and then get temporarily addicted to the behaviors that will get you to your point of success or your definition of success. I emphasize temporarily because you can get results without addiction. Eventually. Know this. You're going to get addicted to something. That's for sure. So pick something that's worthy of the addiction. In my opinion, I think your body and getting it into shape should be the most worthwhile of our efforts. Learning mathematics is a close second, because who doesn't want a mathematician on their team? At Alien Institute, the ultimate goals are to build up each individual who is part of our team. We're not talking about becoming a Gunter Schlierkamp or a Marcus Rule. These guys are giant bodybuilders if you don't know who they are. We're talking about building a body that is as strong and as healthy as it can be, or as strong and as healthy as you want it to be. We want to build strong, healthy, mathematical members who will become visionaries. Small improvements in oneself tends to improve the lives and conditions of the environment around you. Ultimately, you will become part of an advancing scientific world, possibly building a business that is inventive in solving universal problems, and most importantly, being a pioneer in the cause of human expansion into the solar system. But if we accomplish the goal of just making everyone a little better, definitely more healthy, then that's a big victory. The Brains to Brawn series focuses, obviously, on the strong, healthy part of our goals. In obtaining a major goal, we need it to become an obsession. At first, the good thing when choosing a healthy obsession is that eventually you move on to other goals to get obsessed about, and the habits you gained from the original goal tend to stay with us. Just as bad habits become routine, so do good habits. Ideally, the good habits can replace the bad. Let's take a look at a temporary obsession in the form of two parents. Specifically, two parents having their first child. Quite often, the excitement of parents having their first child will motivate them to do great deeds. They spend endless hours preparing for the newcomer. They read child psychology books, plan for future schools, and buy toys that will expand the child's mind. Not all parents, but stay with me here. We're talking about parents who are extremely involved when having their first child. The excitement of the child drives them to research and work incredibly hard. Now fast forward to kid number 3. Yes, they love that kid, but most parents would admit that the intensity was not the same as with the first kid. But the behaviors and experience from the first kid will serve the third child better in most cases. The thing is, for the parents, it took the initial excitement to get them to become experienced. Think about obsessions you've had in the past that you still like but are not obsessed with now. If it's an activity, say baseball, reading, or video games, fill in the blank of your own, are you still pretty good at that thing now? My bet is that the answer is yes. Some may ask, what do expecting parents have to do with building a better physique? Well, the parents worked hard because they visualized their kid becoming something important in the future. They were excited because they believed they could control the outcome. So the first step to building a stronger body is to visualize being fit in the future, as the parents visualized the child being successful in the future. Visualize your fit physique as the final product. Essentially, how do you want your body to look? How do you want it to feel? And how do you want it to perform? Next, believe that you control the outcome. You control your destiny. We will talk more on how to strengthen your belief system down the road. But for right now, it's not a giant leap of faith that you have the ability to improve your health in small ways, even if you feel like you're already healthy. Just convince yourself that controlling your physique is definitely much easier than raising a first child, because you're only working with your own goals. With the kid, as sometimes happens, we can find out they may have a recalcitrant personality. So this is the time. We start by accepting the challenge to improve physically. In future B2B videos, we will talk about visualization as well as small steps to improve your health, physique, and well-being. So, commit yourself today to physical improvement for the future, no matter how big or how small. And together, we will conquer that sloth that hides within us all. Okay, Alien Institute crew, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Also continue learning by watching more AI videos.